Hey gamers, welcome back to Fire Chicken Reviews. And again, I just wanted to cover some of this Keyforge news. The campaign launching on the 9th of September on GameFound. And the hype has been real. A lot of people, when I posted on the Facebook page there, have been talking about this. And so a lot of expected comments is that they look through all the different tiers below here and they wonder, okay, where is a tier where I can just buy decks or a display, and there doesn't appear to be any of that. There might be a few reasons why. I know that, for example, the reason why we don't see a retail pledge is that Ghost Galaxy has confirmed that Asmodee is going to be their basically their supplier for retail, and I believe that's why there's no retail pledge here because retailers are expected, if this campaign does well, which I'm confident it will, that the retail stores will go through Asmodee, and I suspect that there's going to be a little bit of a delay of when retail stores will get the product versus backers on here. So, with that being said, it's interesting because as I discussed in my other video, and definitely check that out. Um, the pledge levels all include like play mats and extra items, and a lot of people are saying, well, I have dozens and dozens of play mats, or maybe they only have two or three, but anytime you go to a competitive card game like this, a lot of people will collect inherently play mats. I have about 30 play mats myself, and I continue to try to purge ones that I don't need. So that's why a lot of players are saying, how come there's not a simple pledge like this pledge here? Why does it not just have 12 decks? And as I discussed in the first video there, I think the value here is the same value that you would pay. So paying the 150 US, it's basically with the new MSRP of basically $13 a deck. That equals out to just buying a display. But people, even money wise aside, they just want what they're going to get because that's also going to add to shipping, adding these three play mats additional deck, which people do want, but the three play mats they don't necessarily want. Right. So what can you do about that? And let's compare it to other campaigns. Example. Let's compare it to SoulForge. So when SoulForge Fusion came out, it was on Kickstarter here, and they had, for the most part, fairly simple pledge levels. They had also a starting pledge level at $40 and includes all of this. Now, the interesting thing, and I tried to comment to this team, is that this was U.S. only. For the Kickstarter, sorry, for the Game Found of Winds of Exchange, this will be worldwide. They are going to ship worldwide, and all the stuff about duty and shipping and all that, it's most likely going to come out once the campaign comes out, and they probably will delay. They'll say this is the estimates. We'll get into that until they get closer to the date, hopefully. Where SoulForge Fusion was US only because they weren't sure, very much like the restart of Keyforge, they weren't sure how popular the game was going to be, and they wanted to stay safe, so they wanted to keep their costs down. So they said they're only going to do US, which myself being in Canada, I said, oh, that was unfortunate, and the retail of this game still hasn't come out as of yet. So starter set $40 compared to the $50 for the Keyforge one. Then they have a bundle which is does come with play mats. It looks like here, which is not too bad because this was a new game. And then they have a retail pledge. Again, the retail pledge for Keyforge doesn't exist on the Game Found. Well, that's because it's supposed to be going through Asmodee, so that's fine. And then they just have a crazy pledge of $2,000 here. But you'll say, hey, what's going on? Well, most people will probably buy at the $65 pledge, and then they can add on. And Keyforge will have add-ons as well, where you'll probably be able to add additional starter kits or additional displays here. So that was SoulForge, but Another comparison for a game I did back, for example, is Sorcery. Again, this is on Kickstarter. There hasn't been too many card games on GameFound, and none that I've backed, so I'm just using Kickstarter. And like I said, I ended up picking up 6 displays of this game as a bit of a game that I was investing into and was interested in. So the pledge levels here, you have a, very similar to the Keyforge one, a starter set of $50, but then they go straight into a display for 130, and then they just kept it simple and said, hey, you can buy a display of 6 boxes. So, sorry, 6 boxes. This would be a full display for 750. So you save a little bit more compared to the 130, and then some crazy collector pledges. But you'll say, hey, okay, so what if I want more than 6 or more than 1 but less than 6? Well, they also have add-ons here, which Keyforge will as well. And they talk about the stretch goals, but we'll ignore that for now. So the add-ons, they had binders, play mats, and of course they had more constructed and boxes that you could buy. So this is what people were most likely expecting or hoping for, was that they had more simplified pledge tiers. I think there might be a variety of reasons why Keyforge uh, had additional stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, this Reaper of Amber, this is the pledge level I recommend to most players. You get a box of Keyforge, so 12 decks, 2 play mats. You get a personalized deck, which is what's the big kicker and a lot of people are excited about, and a personalized play mat as well for 150. And I actually do think that this is a saving here. But the concern is that people will be happy for this deck. They may not want this playmat. Some people will, but a lot of people won't want these playmats, these 2 additional playmats. And what we have on top of that is these playmats are going to add to the shipping cost. That's just inherent, unless Ghost Galaxy is willing to eat some of the cost and is potentially considering like a flat rate shipping depending on the tier you go on. But I suspect that shipping may be, especially for those outside of the U.S. like myself, a little bit more. So having a simple tier level where you can just say, hey, I want to buy 12 12 sealed decks, just like you could on Sorcery here, being able to buy 1 box, or being able to get a simpler one like Soulforge here, which still had it bundled, but this was a new game, unlike Keyforge that has been out for 5 sets already under Fantasy Flight Games. And so that's the thing, is that people already can buy playmats. They can already get a bunch of stuff, and then when this game goes to retail, these same playmats, I suspect, because it doesn't say Game Found exclusive, will most likely be available on the retail side. So that's why people would prefer just to get what they want. So there's still an opportunity to have this change. Let me check it. Let me talk about ISS Vanguard here. Only in the fact to show people that haven't seen it before is that I was very excited for ISS Vanguard, and I backed it with quite a few Canadians. The shipping on ISS Vanguard was fairly expensive. So if I go to view original campaign, and I scroll down to shipping here, you'll see that shipping was not cheap. This is actually the reduced costs of shipping for Canada. I can't remember the original, but you'll see that shipping for these crowd-funded games are fairly expensive at times. Now, this is a very heavy game at 10 kilos, as you see at the starting pledge. But these were the estimated split, and normal split was just that you could get in 2 waves, which was what my group ended up doing. But the Canadian shipping was very expensive. So what people ended up doing, just give me a second. What people ended up doing was that they wrote in the comments saying, hey, why is Canadian shipping so much compared to the US shipping? And then they start a hashtag. So these hashtags over here, so you just have to type in hashtag Keyforge is on and or Keyforge there, and that will start a hashtag, right? But these ones here are the most popular hashtag. So as you can see, suggestions was the top one, which makes most sense. And because Canadian shipping was so uh, outrageous, I'll just say it that way, it ended up being the second highest hashtag for this campaign. So if I click on that, you'll see people commenting on is this going to be Canadian friendly shipping? Why is it so expensive? And they go on. Um, so for the reason why I bring that up is that within the Keyforge campaign itself, you'll be able to go through and put in hashtags, and then that will bring it up over here with popular ones. There's not really many hashtags, and the campaign hasn't launched, so I don't think it's fully up yet. But putting in that to voice your concern, saying, "Hey," you can say hashtag no playmat or hashtag suggestion, whatever. And the most popular ones, just like on ISS Vanguard, say like looking at the suggestions, people talking about ideas and rule books and tokens. It's just an easy way to navigate because basically as this campaign goes on, it's going to be hard to get back to comments, and this allows people to track specific comments, and it also allows Ghost Galaxy in this case to say, hey, these are the concerns people are having, and they can look at that stuff. So I already talked about shipping. Um, the Keyforge shipping, I have no idea how much it's going to be. We'll have to wait to the launch. Hopefully they generalize and tell us what the shipping is going to look like. I think within the US, it's going to be fine. I am already a little bit concerned for Canada, only if it follows like what FFG was doing for shipping when they belonged with Asmodee with that dollar sale, for example, of when the previous sets, the fire sale, as some people were calling it, us Canadians, we had to pay about the equal amount of shipping. So if you bought a display for like 24 bucks, the shipping ended up being like about 30 bucks. So the shipping was actually more. But that was a known thing with Asmodee, where these campaigns, hopefully, the shipping is they streamline it and it is reduced, but we'll have to wait. So that's all I'll talk about shipping for now. But then I wanted to talk about how do you pledge and whatnot. So this is my ISS Vanguard pledge, and I just wanted to show this really quick that you can see the original pledge. I did a group pledge because it was cheaper, speaking about the shipping, to do a group pledge, and you saved because it was all bundled up. I suspect what's going to happen with the Keyforge one here is that you'll be able to add additional pledges of the Reaper of Amber, so say that, or whatever pledge tier you want, to your account, and then it just gets added up to the end. So if you're like me and you're looking at doing a group buy, you can reduce the shipping and by doing this potentially, but you will have to wait and see. And so just having it go to one location versus a bunch of different people, if you live in the same area, this could help reduce. You could also consider just getting one or two tiers or going for the higher stuff and then divvying it up amongst each other. But in the case like I was saying for my ISS Vanguard, my original pledge, this is what we ended up gaining. And yes, it was a little bit of an expensive game. And then later on, the group decided to add various add-ons. And so once the pledge manager closes for Keyforge on the 26th of September, eventually they'll reopen saying, hey, here's some add-ons, here's some stuff potentially, and then you can add it at a later date, and you'll be able to change it into the pledge manager closes. So that's a cool little thing that I wanted to mention. Now, another thing, so people are saying, hey, the 5 tiers, and so this is going to come out, and if you're wondering, like, hey, are they able to add or change tiers once the campaign goes live? The tiers they already have most likely won't be able to change, but they could add potential new ones in addition. And one campaign I saw that was interesting was the unmatched storage system. So for the unmatched game, if you've seen it, and what they did is interesting is that they actually had a $0 pledge level because GameFound's a little bit different than those that are familiar with Kickstarter. Kickstarter, you could potentially go in and say, hey, I want back a dollar and then add what I want. So there was what was called like the dollar pledge tier. The GameFound didn't really have that. So Unmatch actually did an interesting thing, and I've never seen this into now. They had a $0 pledge tier where they said, hey, basically our entire campaign is customizable. So this is like on the other extreme, and that you could just go through and once you add stuff to your pledge, you'll be able to say, hey, I want to add this or this item, include this, so you can really customize it, which uh, makes it a little bit more complicated for the SKU. So that's just so for the processing and getting the stuff out, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. But this is kind of an interesting aspect. I don't think we absolutely need this on the Keyforge campaign, but it would be nice to have a level, like I said, where you can buy just 12 decks and then add what you want. Maybe you only want one playmat, or maybe uh, you want to add about 30 million of these personalized decks, which I do hope the personalized decks show up as an add-on for the different levels, but we'll have to wait and see, because even at the highest level, that we have, and it's fairly expensive. So this one, the Turner of Keys, you're only getting 3 personalized decks, which is super cool. But I think people are willing to pay an extra premium to get more of these personalized decks. So that was the unmatched, comparing to the unmatched. So like I said, you can go in the comments and type in what you want, adding in a hashtag. It will help produce that, and it'll help the designers see what people want. But a lot of the community has been talking about this. And for example, like just this comment here saying, hey, look, I have everything for Keyforge. I have all the mats. There's not a single pledge level here that interests me. And this is what you want to avoid, right? So that's why, and there's a lot of comments within here that are similar to this, and a lot of talks within my own groups and other groups that I've heard of saying that I just want to buy decks by themselves. I don't want all the extra fluff items or extra items just to it's just going to add to my shipping, and I just want to buy either 12 decks, a couple of decks, or whatever it is. So the only real option right now for those is to go at the lowest level, really. But then you're still getting the starter set, which people don't want if they already have all the tokens that they need. So yeah, that's why quick little video talking about that, and how you can voice your concerns if you have them in a constructive manner for this Keyforge Winds of Exchange, and also to talk about the campaign launch. It's on the 9th of September, 17 days, and it's on the 26th. We're still not sure what all the add-ons are going to be, how much shipping is going to be, but what's also really cool is that you don't need to be a backer. All these comments here are obviously, this is before the campaign is even live, so you can go on there and say, hey, I think this is a really cool campaign. And don't forget that if you are interested to be there's just under 2,000 people left, because there's over 8,000 people following. You can get a free deck, most likely from the previous set, as it shows an image from Dark Tidings here. But that is going to be an interesting item. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the pledge tiers, what ones you're going for, and if this video was helpful, consider liking and subscribing. That's all for now.